This is one of the biggest stories of the judicial service in this Fourth Republic. And this is not the first time that there has been such a massive attempt to remove a lady Chief Justice. The first one was during Georgina Wood. Incidentally, the circumstances were similar. The NDC had just won election after a two-term MPP government. John Ajekum Kufuor, he had appointed Georgina Wood after Chief Justice Akwa. As soon as the NDC came into office, there was incessant pressure on Professor Mills, then, and his vice president, John Dramani Mahama, to remove the Chief Justice, to accept a petition to remove the Lord Chief Justice. So it's almost like a deja vu. History repeats itself. When Akufo-Addo and when the MPP won elections in 2001, when John Kufuor came in, there was no issue about removing Justice Aban. Justice Aban was working. He felt completely unwell. And then he had to step aside for Justice Redu back in the day. And then in 2017, when Akufo-Addo came in, Georgina Wood was still the Chief Justice, having been appointed by John Kufuor, having survived the onslaught upon her during the Mills era. Professor Mills had to make a definitive statement publicly that as a law professor, he's not about to do something unconstitutional and remove the Chief Justice. So that also didn't work. John Dramani Mahama was the vice president of the time. Now, since the NDC won the elections, the things that we've been hearing, and tonight later I'll be showing you what Justice Atuguba said, which is very interesting, but we'll come to that in a minute. President Mahama is also being under incessant pressure to remove the Chief Justice, Justice Torkornoo, having been appointed by Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo in 2023. Torkornoo's appointment as Chief Justice came as a relief and as refreshing to many, given that she was the Chief Justice appointed in recent times who has practiced as a judge in all the courts of superior courts of judicature, the High Court, the Court of Appeal, and the Supreme Court. She had gone through the mill. She's been a judge for 20 years. Immediately, she came in and she had led many of the reforms under Georgina Wood, under Sophia Akufu, her predecessor. She had led many of the reforms, particularly the IT reforms that is now making the courts look more modern, like America. So many corporate people were quite excited about the arrival of Justice Torkornoo, because in our minds, Supreme Court judges were always constitutional law people. Justice Aban, Justice Redu, Justice Akwa, Justice Akufo-Addo of the past, Justice Apalu, and all of these men, ENP Soa, these were constitutional lawyers. You know, in those days, that's really what it was. Justice Torkornoo comes in with a breadth of different things: constitutional law, and more importantly, the administrative capacity to run the judiciary. So many were quite excited about this. In fact, in the final analysis towards the choice of Justice Torkornoo, one of the Supreme Court judges, whose name I will not mention now, said that if Justice Torkornoo didn't get the job and the other person got it, he was going to resign as a Supreme Court judge. Somebody said that. It's on record. We'll talk about it later. Many people know. So then Justice Torkornoo got into the 2024 election issues where cases were going to the Supreme Court, left, right, and center. As it is, with almost every election season, you find a lot of writs going to the Supreme Court. In Ghana, in America, it's always the same. So she sat on some of them, and the NDC were not happy with some of it. The MPP too were not happy with some of it. In fact, recently, she dismissed a petition against my favorite friend, Kisi Ajabe, the special prosecutor. Justice Torkornoo dismissed that petition, which was filed by Ken Crunchy. And some MPP people were very, very angry with her, that this woman is NDC and some NDC people too were very angry with her, that this woman, when the Babin did the vacancy, she ruled in a certain way. Some MPP people said, did you see her body language at the court when Jogate was talking, a whole former Attorney General and former Deputy Speaker? Do you see how she spoke to Jogate? She should get away from there. So there were some MPP people who were angry with Justice Torkornoo. And there were some NDC people who were angry with her. Then the NDC won the election. It didn't come as a surprise that concerns were raised about Justice Torkornoo and NDC people saying that she must leave, she must go, she must leave. So finally, 2 days ago, or was it 3 days ago, we were told by Felix Kwakye Ofosu that His Excellency the President has received 3 petitions for the removal of Her Ladyship Justice Torkornoo. Then all the lawyers, pocket lawyers, proper lawyers, all started discussing what is likely to happen. Our responsibility tonight is to explain to you viewers how Article 146 changes when the petition is against the Lord Chief Justice? And what is the potential effect of the writ that has been filed by the Honorable Member of Parliament for Tafo, Vincent Eko Asifwa, good friend of mine? Hi, Vincent. How are you? Nice man. Very nice boy. Oh, nice man. Did I say boy? He's a nice man. So the writ that has been filed by Vincent, we're going to look at it in detail tonight. And then we'll explain to you why the arguments in terms of, has there been a so-called prima facie? What does that word mean? Has the president done a prima facie? Should the president do it? Or should the Chief Justice do it? All of this is arising because the law says that where the petition is against another Supreme Court judge, the president will forward a petition to the Chief Justice to make the prima facie. Indeed, as we are talking, there is a petition that has gone to the president for the removal of another Supreme Court judge. That petition has been forwarded to Torkornoo to make a prima facie decision about that Supreme Court judge, whether they should constitute a panel to remove him from the Supreme Court or not. Right now, as we speak, that is there. Okay.